Well, folks, I'm going to be honest here. I never thought I'd be doing a have and have nots video on this particular subject, but based off the teaser we got at the end of Battle for the Past for this week's episode, A Good Man, people have been asking me, Jeremy, do you think Charles is in the down low? Because when Landon and Candace are talking, Candace is saying, wait, are you in love with him? Wait, is he gay? Am I like the fake woman? And then Landon's like, wait, what? Do you think he's gay? And that sparked a conversation amongst fans like, Jeremy, do you think Charles could be on the DL? Well, honestly, I don't think so. Could be. But, I mean, to be honest, he could be, due to the fact that in this particular show, everybody has skeletons in their closet. Some people have like 3 graveyards. I couldn't even go into it fully, but I do not know. I just feel like, when we're going to the debut episode of Charles in season 4, episode 1, called A Cup of Tea, when David and Charles are greeting each other, pretty much reminiscing on, wow, it's been a long time since I've seen you. We found out that those two ran against each other for a seat at the Senate, and this was several years ago. Charles won, but both have been keeping tabs on another, such as, Charles hearing about David's divorce in the news, as well as other things such as being arrested, as well as David keeping up on the news that Charles is doing extremely well and is going to be the next president of the United States. We haven't won yet. Well, I haven't won yet. He's like, I know you will. And it goes even further when David says, hang on one sec. Oh yeah. And I'm sorry about your wife. And then Charles just looks at him for a second. And, for at first glance, it's like, he probably just lost his wife. And he's probably still a little broken about it. So just even hearing it, he's like, yeah, sorry. That really struck a nerve with me. Kind of like, okay, maybe this is something I didn't see before. When Charles revealed his true colors to Candace, talking about a woman that was made to disappear, and then moving even further into the episode, I believe, was it Exhausted or the episode right before it? Basically, when Landon talks about, you're going to this dinner with Charles because, Candace, the last woman who refused, is gone, like disappeared. So, I do not know. It is possible, guys. I mean, the more I look into it and look at signs, and it's one thing to just look at things that aren't even there, but when you pick up on things you didn't the first time, there are some hints at Charles being possibly in the closet. Because what's with these disappearing women? Do they disappear for the reasons that they're hinted to? I mean, it was stated that Charles's wife actually passed away. And then when it comes to these other women, who either pissed him off or didn't do what he told him to, it's almost like in the Bible when it came to Queen Esther and the king, who I forgot the king's name at the time. I forgot, but basically, was it Nebuchadnezzar? No, I think that was from the Daniel story. Basically the king. It was said that Esther, even if you make it to the status of queen, never enter into the king's chambers unless you've been asked to do so, because if you do, there's a likely chance you will be executed. I believe the previous queen wasn't executed but was dethroned because of the fact that the king asked his wife to come out in the midst of a party, pretty much to show herself off to all the men in attendance. But when she refused to come at his call, she was pretty much, banished from the kingdom, if memory serves right. Like, I remember my Sunday school lessons. But in any case, when it comes to these women, I could actually see that based off Charles' personality, because remember, you have Charles, then you have the Chucky persona. And no, I am not putting a picture of Chucky. I do not do horror movies, and I am not going to Google that character. So no. But in any case, I just feel that it is possible. Not to mention, Candace did ask the right question. Wait, are you in love with him? Am I just like a fake woman or something like that? And in the world of politics, that is actually pretty accurate, because of the fact that if you go back to what Amanda said about David's campaign for the Senate seat, or at least office, back in episode 2 of season 1, Playing the Deep End, 2 years back, his father, referring to Jeffrey, his father ran for office 2 years back on family values, pretty much talking about his campaign foundation. completely opposed to gay marriage. In a town like this, that can get you elected. Now, that doesn't really confirm whether or not David was for or against gay marriage. Perhaps he just chose that platform in order to skyrocket to the status of Senate. But then he really wasn't against gay marriage due to the fact that in the episode No More Hiding, the finale season 1, he was quick to not only accept Jeffrey, but then in season 2, try to understand the gay lifestyle, by asking questions like, Landon, are you gay? What's it like? Just to get an idea of how to help his son. Well, not help, but, understand. And then even further than that, in recent episodes, tries to set him up with Madison. So pretty much David isn't as against gay marriage and relationships as his campaign platform would lead you to believe. So maybe on the flip side, Charles had a campaign that was for gay marriage, and maybe that escalated him to the Senate, whereas David lost the race. We do not know this, but it is something to be, raise an eyebrow at. But maybe Charles's wife didn't die. Maybe she quote unquote disappeared because he had a gay relationship. I mean, to be honest, I don't think this is the case, but the more I look at these early episodes, the more I look at how these characters went from they were in season 1, season 2 to where they are now. Even some of the characters who didn't even show up until like the middle of season 2 or season 3, when you look at their character arcs, they turn out to be nothing like we thought when we first saw them. Like, look at Mitch. As far as we were concerned during his early appearances with Benny, he was just a fellow truck driver. Who knew he would have been associated or related to the mob? Seriously, it's crazy to think about. But it's really interesting to see how Tyler Perry would do that because, allegedly Obama is or was at least elected for one term in the haves and have-nots universe. So a black president has happened. But to have a black president who is also gay is But I mean, when you look at all of his staff and whatnot who clearly identify that Charles is a straight man, one could make the argument that that's easily debunked in terms of this theory. Or excuse me, that the fact that everybody knows or assumes that he's straight debunks the theory that Charles is in the closet. But something that's slightly inconsistent is the episode where, Landon comes into the room pretty much because a child was shot and tells Charles they need to go now because really he saw Candace in the bed and realized that Charles and Candace together is not a good mix. And Charles pretty much says like, what? Do you not have a thing for women? And he pretty much got in Landon's face about it, truly hinting that he speculates / knows that Landon is gay. But then fast forward until the next season when one of Charles' associates, pretty much talks to him alone when Landon left the room, just to hint at, okay, Charles, there's a lot of talk in our camp, pretty much, in the campaign team for Charles that, him and Landon are together due to the fact that, Landon is attentive, always right by his side, always him and Landon, up at night late in his room, talking, drinking and whatnot. So they assume something between the sheets is going on. And then Charles is like, whoa, no. He's just doing his job. He's just being a friend. And he's like, if he's gay, I'm pretty sure I would have known that, which is a contradiction to what we saw several episodes before when he got in Landon's face about it. So we don't know. I mean, yeah, Landon tried to repeatedly take off his shoes, but then when Charles brushed him off, he was like, if you won't let me take off your shoes now, this is just a sign that you're not ready to be president when everybody's going to be waiting on you hand and foot. So I've always speculated, I wonder why Charles didn't really pull a Wyatt. When Wyatt tricked Jeffrey into coming out, he pretty much just pretended to be gay in order to get Jeffrey to come out. And I was wondering why Charles never let Landon take off his shoes after the conversation he had with a fellow member of his team after saying that Landon is gay and loves him. I was wondering why Charles never did the shoe thing just to see how far it would go with Landon, just to confirm whether or not he was gay. Who knows? But maybe we'll see something in this next episode when Charles says, get out, I'm done with you. Or I'm done with you, get out. And I do believe he's talking to Landon, not Candace. I wonder how far that's going to go. So I really do think that it is interesting to think about, if Charles is actually in the closet, because that will raise so many questions. But at the same time, he does say he has women all over the country and Candace is the one he wants. So could it be that, ironically enough, he wants to pick the woman who is, well, for a lack of a better phrase, the woman who most likely would just be willing to play the role of first lady as opposed to wanting to be with Charles. That way Charles is free to live the lifestyle he wants behind closed doors. Because maybe it will be different. Like, there are so many other women in the country. I mean, at least the ones we haven't seen in this series, because allegedly Candace's good is so good that every man is just addicted after the first hit. So that just begs a lot of questions, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other women that would have been the right woman for the role. Somebody not just willing to play the part, but would have been a great match for Charles. But Charles did say that he pretty much had a record similar to Candace back in his past. So there's no telling what kind of freaky shit he might have done back in the day. Not just criminal activity, but even Candace told Jeffrey that once, like in high school or whatnot, she had sex with another, like excuse me, I'm sorry if I say the wrong phrase, but she said it was I think she said it was a dyke or a lesbian who was on like the basketball team. But then after that first time having sex with another woman, she didn't like it, so she stuck with men. So who knows what Charles did back in his time when he was on the other side of the tracks before he cleaned himself up and became a politician. That's all I'm saying, folks. Not to mention, nowadays there are so many politicians. Well, not nowadays, but given the social media that we live in, there are a lot of things from behind the curtain that become exposed in the light, when it comes to politics. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, in recent news, the first openly gay, I forgot the role of the exact role that the politician was elected for, but this is just, we live in these times where the first openly gay blank got elected to this, or the first openly gay football player. You know what I'm saying with this. So I don't know, maybe Tyler Perry is harkening back to the real world and implementing that into the show itself. So let me just check my notes real quick. I mean, he does have 2 kids, but it could just be for public appearances. I don't doubt that those are the children. When they first appeared, I thought they were part of a bigger scheme that, Charles was just trying to set up Candace. And it's like, those aren't really his kids. It's just, a ploy. Because there are a lot of things that made no sense, such as, not just Charles being in an adjacent room to Candace, but his kids opening the door to an adjacent room to a stranger's apartment, or hotel room, when they are the kids of a presidential candidate. This was before the election, remember? So I don't know. But then in a future episode, Charles had a one-on-one with Landon saying that, Landon, when we make it to the White House, please protect my kids. I just want them to have a normal life. I don't want them to be in the public's eye just because they're the children of the president. So that does kind of confirm that those 2 are Charles's children, not quote unquote actors for Charles to put on a, solid family picture, if you will. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think that Charles is gay? Do you think he's in the closet and he's just using these women as a ploy to, I guess you could say, play the part of a young, energetic, black, everyman politician? Because I don't know. It's interesting. I would like to see where this story goes. I'm probably about 60% sure that he's straight. That's probably where I'm at right now. I was in the 80% until I did, research for this topic. But let me know your thoughts on the comments section in regards to this subject. Yes or no, do you think Charles is in the closet? Do you think this was just a little teaser in the preview for next week's episode just to get us excited to say, whoa, is he gay? But if you go back to season 1, that episode where the detective had Benny arrested while he was driving Candace's car with the drugs, and then the preview for next week, and it's like, are you saying that she's a he? And it turned out that it was just wordplay to get us interested in the story, because, the detective was saying that, and we got him. And he's like, wait, you got her? No, sir, it was a he. So pretty much David was saying that, okay, we set up this trap to get Candace, but you're telling me that she's a he. No, look through the window. That's him right there, referring to Benny. So I think that maybe Charles isn't gay, and the conversation between Landon and Candace is just to, hype us up for the next episode. It reminds me of that, back and forth between Morris Day and Jerome and Purple Rain. It's like, what's the password? What? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I got it. What? You see what I mean? The wordplay is funny. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, as well as leaving your thoughts in the comment section below so we can keep the conversation going. On the left hand side of the screen, you should see a picture of Jeffrey Harrington. You can click on him in order to subscribe, but also hit the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new content. Also, you should see some videos appearing on the screen as well that I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy if you enjoyed the one you just saw. But also, be sure to follow me on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all my social media will be in the description below. And in order to help this channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to need your help. So make sure to share this video as well as the channel around with all of your friends on your own social media. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next video.